All right. Welcome back to the Social Selling Podcast by Linking into Sales. My name is Greg Heyer. Martin Brossman and Elise Archer are out on the road, so I get to do the interview today. And I'm super excited about our guest that we have with us today. It's Brandon Ansel from Pitch.me. So we get to learn a little bit more about a very unique approach to sales and prospecting and how to make a connection in a respectful way. So, but anyways, we'll get to that in just a moment. First, let's catch up on some quick little social selling news that is happening out there. One is LinkedIn is considering getting into some native video content. So maybe you've seen on Netflix how they kind of have their own studio. Same with Amazon, and they're starting to take. Those folks have been pretty successful with producing content. But so. Could you imagine LinkedIn being like the CNBC of the internet? So that's a possibility. It's something that's kind of coming down the road. As well, there's been some updates regarding Twitter. By now, you should probably have the ability to use 280 characters in your tweets, which is pretty exciting. I've been able to take and actually have a slightly longer conversation with some folks on Twitter. Definitely great. And as well, we've had some pretty incredible engagement that's been going on. I've been learning about how on LinkedIn in particular, how comments help actually fuel the amount of people that view a status update. And so there's a great article, and I'll link to it in the show notes, which actually it gets very technical. So I'm sure you probably don't want to read it, but let's just say that if you can get people, more and more people to engage in your status updates, it creates a viral, it triggers a viral algorithm that LinkedIn has. So some fun stuff if you're definitely testing and playing. Also, one other thing that I do want to point out for everybody is get familiar with the term called Gdpr. Okay, in a recent article that was written by Mick Adams, who's a social selling trainer over in Europe. GDPR is this new privacy regulation that is actually going into effect in May of 2018 for Europe, and it basically covers all all EU citizens, no matter where they are in the world. So if you're a US-based business that is doing a business with people in Europe, there's a lot of regulation you're going to need to pay attention to, and it in Mick Adams' article actually talks about how if you're out there using a tool inside Chrome to scrape somebody's email address or try to figure it out, or to put them on an email list, or even exporting your LinkedIn connections, if you have anyone who's in the EU, you're going to have to take and delete them from your list. There's a lot of regulations about how the data is managed and how privacy is being thought of and managed in Europe. So U.S. businesses, they think that they may not have a problem with this, or it's a regulation that doesn't affect them. But if there's an EU citizen on U.S. soil, or if you ended up with someone from the EU on your email list or something like that, yeah, you're actually subject to it. But there has been no case law on it yet, so we'll see what happens there. But just be familiar with it and understand the implications that it could have for your particular business, because fines can be upwards of 4% of global revenue for your company. Anyways, check out, connect with me on LinkedIn. I got a couple status updates out there about it. And then also in January, we're gonna have one of our previous guests who's over in the UK come back onto the show to tell us a little bit more about this. Anyways, not to scare you before the end of the year, but let's talk about who our sponsor is today, and that is socialselling.training. You just go out to socialselling.training, and we have 4 courses out there. You can learn about social selling fundamentals, social selling routine, also using Twitter, and then or setting up Twitter for your Twitter profile for social selling, and then our LinkedIn course, which we're going to be redoing. So anybody who has purchased that course or is part of that course from the past, you'll be able to you'll get the updated course automatically, because we'll be switching out the content in there. But if you secure the course now, if you want to go over some of the past content in there, that's available, but we'll be replacing that course here very, very soon. Anyways, check it out. And of course, reach out to me. If you're listening to this podcast, no matter when, reach out to me and I will send you my special discount code, and you'll like it a lot. I promise you. So anyways, let's get to our guest. This is Brandon. He actually he founded a company called Pitch.me, and he has what's really interesting about what he has done is it created a platform, a new way of engaging with or connecting providers and deciders. So if you've ever been frustrated with cold calling, sending emails or tweeting at folks or sending LinkedIn invites or in-mails or anything like that, and just haven't gotten a response from a decision maker, this might be a good thing to investigate. So anyways, Brandon, let's find out more about this. Welcome to the podcast.
So good to be here with you, Greg. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Brandon, tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you down this road to creating Pitch.me.
Yeah, I'm a 38-year-old business guy here in Jackson, Michigan, who's been doing entrepreneurial things for about the last 15 or 20 years. And about 3.5 years ago, I took the job as CEO of an independent insurance agency with about 60 employees, really great business. My job for the company was to innovate and to learn about the latest and greatest things going on in the insurance industry, and then to push those into our team to try to keep the company growing and staying ahead of the pack. And about 18 months ago, which was 18 months into that position, as I self-assessed how I was doing at innovating for my company, I felt like the way that I was getting information was completely hampering my efforts. The three ways that people were connecting with me were junk mail. I would get piles of it, literally pounds of it on my desk every day that my assistant would whittle through and try to find things that might be important. We would get emails. We'd get at least 100 to 150 marketing emails a day. And again, my assistant would spend time just getting rid of those, trying to clean up my inbox so I could deal with the kind of real tasks of the day. And then cold calls. I'd get 5 to 10 a day on my cell phone, people who wanted to talk about the insurance industry. And those were doing the opposite of what they were trying to do. Those were interrupting and kind of irritating my day. And so I had an epiphany 18 months ago that I was never going to be able to innovate if I couldn't learn about the latest and greatest things happening in my industry in an efficient way. And the genesis of Pitch.me came a day that a cold caller got through to my cell phone. He fibbed to my assistant and said that he was late for a meeting with me. And so I answer my cell phone and I say, "Hey, Greg, no problem. I'm running late too," or whatever. But he says, "No, I'm sorry. My name's Bob, and I just need to talk to you for 15 minutes because I've got some really great information about how I might be able to save you $100,000 every year on your agency management software." And so, my initial gut feeling was kind of the annoyance of having someone lie to me. But my thought process was, this guy might be able to help me because we were not particularly happy with that piece of software at that time. We were looking for potentially other options, a very expensive piece of operating software. And so instead of just hanging up on him or whatever, my solution was to ask him if he was serious. And he took the time to get through to me, but was he really willing to put his money where his mouth is? If I'm willing to give him some of my time. So that's what I asked him. I said, "Man, I'm very busy. I don't know you. I didn't ask for this call, but would you be willing to make a $50 donation to a great local charity if I gave you an hour of my time?" And the gentleman immediately jumped all over it. He said, "Man, I've got plenty of budget for that. I'm just trying to get meetings. That's why I do what I do every day. And that would be great." And then he asked me how. He said, "How would I facilitate that?" And I had no idea. And so I got on Google and started looking for apps or websites that would facilitate this type of charitable or respectful introduction as I saw it. And we couldn't find anything. There was nothing. And because of kind of my entrepreneurial nature, I started asking my friends and business partners if this was a common problem that they had in their businesses. And in researching it myself as well, and as my friends started researching it, we found that there's almost $600 billion spent every year trying to get a hold of each other to introduce new products or services or ideas. And they're all in very inefficient and oftentimes intrusive or disrespectful ways that we try to generate each other's attention. And so I saw something like Pitch.me being the opposite of that. It was a way to allow salespeople to rise above the noise, put their money where their mouth is, and honor their prospects' time. And to say, I believe so strongly in what I'm doing that even if you don't buy from me, it will be a good use of our company's marketing budget to make a donation so that I can really get a meaningful amount of your time and attention to tell you why I think I can help your business. Because in my world, that's the only reason that we market, is because we believe that our product or service will help somebody's business or make their life better. And this allows us a really direct way to prove that we believe we have something valuable to sell. And as a CEO, my thesis was that if someone's willing to donate an amount of money to my favorite cause that I determine, because it's a perfect free market, we all can choose what 15 minutes of our time is worth. I figured I should be able to, and willing to hear these people out. And so that's what has happened. We built an app that does just that. It allows sales professionals to target CEOs in any industry. We have about 20,000 early adopting members, so you can search through our app and find specific CEOs or decision makers. We call them deciders. Or as a provider, which is a sales professional, we have a very easy tool to allow you to do outbound networking and marketing to offer this new message that you'd like to put your money where your mouth is by making a donation to a local cause that your prospect might care about. And we're seeing that guys who used to do just marketing emails with this message are getting much better open rates and much better conversions to actual meetings. And that's what we think the future is. We'd like to see billions of dollars go to great local charities that used to kind of disappear into ineffective digital marketing and junk mail and cold calls and things like that.
In our previous conversations, I don't think we've ever come up with the number for 600 million for stuff that's spent on wasteful prospecting.
Billion.
Billion, exactly. And that's incredible. As soon as you said that, it reminded me of this TED Talk I was watching yesterday about Alzheimer's and where we are, and the fact that it's been identified for the last 115 years or so, and we still don't have a cure or even a decent way to treat it. And then the speaker went into these numbers of we spend $500 billion a year or $5 billion. The government spends about $5 billion a year on cancer research, but only spends $500 million on Alzheimer's research. Yet this is a disease that actually kills people, and we're getting nowhere with it. So how do we change this? We still have the same amount of people die from Alzheimer's as they do from cancer. So how do we take and redirect this kind of money into this? And this is if you have a cause that is that kind of takes you that kind of direction, and to be able to take some of that marketing budget and put it towards, and be able to take and say, hey, we supported all of these charities, and all this money went to Alzheimer's research, and or even as an executive to say, listen, this is my mission. I'm taking phone calls, and we're going to help. I'm going to contribute to the cause of trying to find a cure for Alzheimer's, and and have some of that $600 billion that's just spent frivolously, I guess, and put it towards a good cause. So for me, it resonates very well, and I hope for listeners that if you have a cause that you want to contribute to, as far as maybe children's cancer research, whatever, or maybe the projections for Alzheimer's are just staggering. I'm afraid now that I'm going to die from it. So, but there's that's pretty insightful. And how the backstory and how you got there was very helpful to understand too. And I think that it would seem that most salespeople would want to have the opportunity to do that, to get your time, right? And I would assume that you probably tested this with a few more folks than just as one occurrence, right? So I remember when I signed up and started using the app, you actually connected with me. You initiated the conversation, so we can go through and see what the engagement was like, and I was impressed. So how many other folks have you kind of had those conversations with so far?
Yeah, I've personally booked conversations with about 200 members like you. I get an alert every time someone comes on the platform. We're adding, probably 50 to 100 users a day. And I look at their profiles, and if it's someone that I think can have a pretty profound impact with Pitch.me in their local community, I'll put my money where my mouth is, donate to their favorite cause, so that I can in 5 or 10 or 15 minutes tell them how they can use Pitch.me, A, to make their business more effective, B, to cut down on the frivolous kind of inquiries on their time. And we've gotten into a world where I can get 5 to 10 robot calls every day on my cell phone, and there's nowhere for me to kind of stop that. There's no one for me to complain to. You can't call those numbers back and be taken off that list because I'm already on the national do not call list. And so how these companies are getting past that is something that if we don't step up against with tools like Pitch.me, it's just going to get more and more aggressive on our time. It would be awful to get a call on my cell phone every 15 minutes from a robot dialer, but we live in a world where that could potentially happen if we don't start using tools like Pitch.me. So that's the mission that drives us every day. We want to create connectedness as a business professional and as a sales guy. I feel like we're all selling something, and we all have decision-making authority on things as a consumer. We're all very powerful in that way. And most people I work with want to learn about the latest and greatest innovations in their industry, but with no organized way to do it, you end up blocking out really good messages and really good ideas. And so we just want to be an introduction engine that facilitates the quick flow of information to people who it will be relevant for. And the value exchange is the contribution to a charity. With technology like this in play, we see it as a great complement to your LinkedIn account. We believe that it's going to be powerful to accelerate business joint ventures and sales opportunities because it's a way to really cut through the noise and get direct human attention when you're willing to put your money where your mouth is. It's a phrase that resonates throughout our office because it's the foundation of why we do Pitch.me, is that we think it's a little aggressive to get constant retargeting ads from our Google searches and things. But we love it when someone reaches out through Pitch.me, and there's other companies doing similar things. I'm keeping an eye on earn.com that is allowing people to send you an email, and you actually get paid in Bitcoin if you decide to read that email. So that's a fascinating concept as well that we think is going to help push us into the culture even further. We want to see more and more companies helping people monetize their attention for good causes and not just allowing legacy media companies to get rich off of our eyeballs.
I totally agree. So let's talk about how somebody would, you're a salesperson, you're looking to try to connect with a C-suite exec. Let's say you said it complements LinkedIn pretty well. Let's say you've identified somebody on LinkedIn, but you know that you just got to have that conversation with this person. They've the person they identified, they've actually included the link to their Pitch Me account in one of the 3 links inside the LinkedIn profile. Sales rep goes and clicks through. What happens next? So
if you have a prospect who's on Pitch.me, it's as simple as making a request on their time. You send them a text message through our platform that says, hey, look, I'd be very interested in making a donation to your favorite charity if you'd open up 15 minutes on your calendar for me. The decision maker then gets that message, and with one button, one click, they're able to choose a time and send that back to you, and you both can then integrate that on your calendar. And then at the time window that has been set aside for that introductory call, you get into the app and you make the outbound call through the app. Because keep in mind, we're protecting everyone's cell phone numbers and their email addresses. You don't get anyone's contact information except at the end of a call. A decision maker, a decider can award an email address or a cell phone number as a way to follow up off platform. This isn't intended for every conversation to happen. It's an introduction engine. Mm-hmm. So does that make sense?
Absolutely. And actually, that's kind of different from something like on LinkedIn where they actually do give you their email address and all that stuff inside there if you're connected directly. So, I mean, you're taking it a step extra with privacy. So that's that's good. Again, another thing that a term that you guys have coined and are championing with respectful commerce, right?
Yeah, we are really excited about the future of what we see as respectful commerce. We're actually getting ready to launch respectfulcommerce.com, which is going to highlight great companies and great digital marketing firms that are embracing this concept of saying, let's spend our marketing dollars in a more charitable and social way, getting what we want, which is the human attention of potential customers, but giving back to the world in a better way than more and more retargeted ads or more and more cold calls or more and more junk mail into people's inboxes.
Exactly. So let me pause here for just a moment. So I know that we probably have some salespeople are like, "Oh my God, Greg, give me the damn link." I want to, and let me go try out this app. I want to start right now. So in order for them, guys, we've asked Brandon to give us a unique link that'll take you exactly where you need to go. If you're on Android, it'll take you into the Play Store. If you're on iOS, it'll take you into the App Store there. If you're on desktop, then it will take you out to the website so you can learn a little bit more about. So go to pitch.me/TMC. All right. Go to pitch.me/TMC. Real simple. No www. You don't need that. Just pitch.me/TMC. And I'll repeat it again. We'll have it in the show notes as well, but I'll repeat it again at the end of the episode. So now I know that we got a flurry of downloads coming in and everyone wants to check this out. So, because, it's really exciting to see this particular approach. You've talked with some of these folks that have started using the app. What is have you heard some really incredible wins that have come out of using this?
Absolutely. On both sides of the coin, I got a great email from a gentleman who owns a pharmaceutical company here in mid-Michigan, and he had a sales professional who was trying to get through to him for several years, but had become an annoyance. And he had heard about Pitch.me, downloaded the app, and one day when that guy sent him an email, he just responded back and said, "Hey, look, I'm very busy, but if you're serious, this is a way you can get a hold of me." And that gentleman immediately downloaded the Pitch.me app himself, set up his own profile, and then booked a call with Mr. Ross. And they ended up doing business together. And that sales professional sent me a nice email as well later saying, "Hey, look, I've been trying to target that gentleman for years, and this was a super efficient way." He said, "Go get the whole pharmaceutical industry on there, and I'll be your biggest donor." Nice. I love putting my money where my mouth is. And similarly, it was cool for Mr. Ross to send me an email saying, "Hey, look, I had been blocking this guy out, but was really glad that I had a way to determine that he was serious, because he ended up having a really great value proposition for my business." So everybody was winning in that transaction. And I tell you another cool thing, Greg, that's happening is innovative sales guys are just using this as a way to differentiate themselves in the marketplace. They're talking about it. Even when they're out making face-to-face cold calls. We have a gentleman who's in the dental industry. His company does refining of dental waste and shares in the revenue with dentists. And there's 11,000 dentists in Michigan. And he just walks up to them and stops by their office and tries to get appointments. That's been marginally effective, but he's having much greater success stopping in, talking about Pitch.me and saying, it's a free app. If you'd have Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so download it, I will gladly put my money where my mouth is and donate to a great local cause. I'm really serious. I only need 15 minutes of your time. And he's having a much greater success rate by leaving behind information about Pitch.me and how he's willing to make a great charitable donation instead of just stopping in and asking for time.
Excellent. So awesome from the sales side too, to hear that people are just coming up with innovative ways in order to take and get other providers on board or other deciders on board. How about we probably have some folks that are in sales management that are probably going to be thinking about how do we get my exec on this platform, or maybe somebody's on the board of a nonprofit in their community, or maybe they're on several. So what about from a decider standpoint? There's an opportunity there for basically for them to sit back and say, hey, listen, I'm on the board of this particular company. I could take and spend and volunteer all my time in here, but if I could do two things at once, learn about innovative solutions and then also get a donation for the charity, then that should actually kind of work out for both of us. So any incredible stories there?
Yeah, it's been fantastic to work with local not-for-profits. We've had hundreds of them receive checks through the Pitch.me conversations that have been happening here in Michigan and starting to happen around the country. We're really concentrated in the Midwest right now, but growing rapidly every day. And every time a not-for-profit gets a donation check that they weren't expecting, they get curious. And so we've gotten several calls saying, this is cool. How do we get more of these? And so we give not-for-profits some very simple tools to introduce their database of donors to this free app that can greatly enhance their business and enhance how they manage their personal attention, and can also send money to that great cause. And so that's been probably our most successful go-to-market strategy, has been partnering with local not-for-profits and allowing them to amplify their influence by just telling their donors about a new, free, cool tool that will provide new resources to the not-for-profit without just asking them to write a check. They are actually getting business value from this tool that is generating donations for the cause.
Very cool. Excellent. So, I mean, if I got to check you, I would probably want to find out where I could get some more of those too, right?
Yes.
So, especially since, usually, these nonprofits are very focused on how they spend their money and how they usually how they raise. And I guess sometimes most of the time they have an issue with trying to figure out, like, how do we raise more so that way we can be more effective and help more people and complete our mission or continue our mission, right?
You're spot on. I was at a local university actually yesterday, and they're constantly in fundraising mode. And they love the concept of sending out a good word to their donor base about Pitch.me instead of just asking again for another donation. They just really saw that it made sense to introduce this valuable business tool in hope that it ends up coming back around in good karma, that the former students and who are currently business leaders will use the app and remember that university when the donations get sent. The app has 2 million charities validated and available, but when you go in, you get to choose your favorite charity when you set up your profile, and you can change it at any time as well. You also can always change the dollar amount that has to be donated in order to book a 15-minute conversation with you. So if you're a busy executive and it's $100 maybe to get 15 minutes on your calendar to make a sales introduction, if you started to get too many inquiries on Pitch.me, you could very easily raise it to $150 or $200. And on the other side of the coin, we've allowed executives to post needs on our platform. And that allows them to say, I need to buy a new phone system in the next 30 days. I've got a $100,000 budget. I don't want to spend my time Googling looking for companies. I'd rather a great solutions provider come to me. And anyone on our platform who sells phone systems and has set up their alerts would get a free alert that shows that an executive is looking to spend some money and make a purchase decision. And then they can look at that profile and decide if they want to put their money where their mouth is by making a donation.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
Excellent. No, that's kind of that's a good approach right there. I think I was kind of curious about that section in the profile there about how, you could put in like what are your needs and things like that, and be able to take and figure out like what should I put in there, and am I going to get too many phone calls? I saw one of our friends, Jack Kazakowski, he actually said and he does consulting for marketing and other creative services and things like that, and he put his at $212. So I'm kind of curious. I'm like, how many calls is he actually getting? So I'll have to ask him and find out. But I've been seeing some of our friends adopt it and use it, so I got to get back with them. And it's been about a month or so that they've been starting to use it. So I'm hoping to get some really incredible stories from them on how they're sharing, how they're able to make connections with sales folks as well. So
real quick, we've seen business celebrities and movie stars and sports celebrities using our app as an innovative way to connect with their fan base without giving out their cell phone numbers. And so, for instance, we've got an actor who uses our app. He's got 250,000 Instagram followers. And every now and then he'll send out on Instagram or Facebook a message saying, hey, if you'd like to talk about last night's episode, you can book time with me on pitch.me. And he talks about the not-for-profit that he's trying to raise money for. And his fans will book those 15-minute blocks of time immediately. And that's an important feature. You control your calendar as well. So he is never available for the random inquiry, but he'll open up 4 slots a month, let's say, and then he'll tell fans, this is how you can get a hold of me. And they can have a conversation, but it's safe. He doesn't have to give out his cell phone. He doesn't have to give out his email address. And fans love it because they get to learn what types of causes their favorite celebrities or their favorite business celebrities care about.
Very interesting. That's cool. We'll have to dig in and see if we could find out who those folks are and point
Yeah.
them out maybe. But I guess if they're if they're also sharing out there on social, so that actually brings up an interesting point, is that they're actually able to use this with others. This isn't exclusive, and I think that's a point that we definitely try to drive home with our listeners here, is that you can't just use one platform. You can't just rely on LinkedIn for InMail, or, Twitter for DM messages, or Instagram for private messages, or, YouTube for private videos and things like that. You have to actually have an entire tool chest, and what tool is going to actually work best for you to get to that particular point that you're looking for. And I think, but this one, just to me, if my listeners don't understand that how fast this actually speeds up and actually improves efficiency, I'm really surprised. I know there's some skeptics out there though, right?
Oh, of course, man. I got to talk to the CEO of a regional bank recently at a conference, and he said, it's a cool idea, but I don't know that I would want people pitching me on things. And I respectfully said, it's happening to you every day. They're just doing it in ways that aren't effective. And he said, yeah, I guess you're right. And I said, man, you run a multi-billion-dollar bank. You might be able to get $10,000 donated to your favorite cause when someone really, really wants to talk to you. I said, for instance, it might have taken me a year or more to network my way to you if I wanted to try to sell you on pitch.me to integrate into your company. But had you been on the platform, I can very quickly put my money where my mouth is, as long as I'm willing to do it. If 10,000 is your number, and I believe that your time is that valuable, I'd argue that you should hear me out and learn about what I think is going to help your business and my own. And under that understanding, he really got it quickly. And he said, boy, I should have my whole executive team on your platform. And I said, now you're getting it. Well, the cool thing is it never bothers you unless someone really firmly believes they can help you and is willing to put their money where their mouth is. That's what's cool about the app.
So you have made an interesting point. Actually, we cover this in our training, and there's a term that we use called social proximity. And that is having a clear understanding on how far you are from the destination you're trying to go. And you had said, it would take me a year to get through all the people I needed to get through in order to get to you. But this, by using PitchMe, I can get through all of that and get directly where I need to go. So this is a social proximity play with some really good social consequences from it, right? Or social outcomes from this.
Yes.
So it's, it fits right into the spectrum. That's why I'm having you on the show, because people using this for social selling, use LinkedIn, use Twitter as well to get the information you need to have a great contextual conversation with somebody for that 15 minutes and make it as effective as possible. So let's talk about, let's go a little bit higher. I know we've been talking about the app and some of the things like that, but so as far as what's your perspective on our current approaches maybe to social selling? I would imagine you probably talk with a number of salespeople out there, and they might be using other solutions or have other strategies or things like that. But do you have any thoughts about the approach and seeing how it's kind of grown among sales reps?
Yeah, I think we're the missing link, candidly. Social selling is the future, as we know. There's no more effective way to learn about how to get a hold of the types of prospects that you believe your business can help. But we're all very skeptical, and we're all very, very busy. And so it's just a new word and a good word to have a sales guy believe so strongly in what he's doing that he's willing to put his money where his mouth is and honor his prospect's time. It's just very easy to ask someone, could I have 15 minutes to tell you my thing? It's just too easy, candidly. But it's just such a level playing field when you offer to put your money where your mouth is and you genuinely say it's just to honor your time. Whether you believe that I have the greatest value proposition in the world or not, I do, and I recognize how busy you are and how valuable your time is, and this is a way for me to respect that. And I've found that there's no business person in the world who is going to turn away a respectful request on their time.
Very good. Now, so how's business up in Michigan? You've mentioned that you're based up there, and we hear startups in Silicon Valley. There's some here in Raleigh. There's You have Silicon Hill slopes are over in Utah and, everything like that. But, sometimes we'll see down here some of those pure Michigan advertising campaigns to get businesses to come back up to Michigan or start up in Michigan. So how is things up there?
The business climate is really improving in Michigan. The automotive sector, which really drives our economy in a lot of ways, is seeing some serious positive momentum. And there is a really cool emerging technology scene and venture capital scene in Michigan. We have initially been funded to the tune of about $3 million, all from angel investors. But we're starting to get some calls on a regular basis from venture capitalists who are sniffing around at the concept and the idea, and they like the potential networked effect of what we're doing and the potential scalability of a LinkedIn integration in the future or some other kind of major adoption. And so we believe Michigan's a great place for us to start because there's not a lot of competition for innovative technology startups. So we've been able to get some really great press and just had a lot of help from people who care and want to see good things grow here in the Midwest and here in Michigan. I wouldn't have changed where we launched for anything.
Very cool. Very cool. Now you said, you have some folks sniffing around and then, you might have some additional innovation that's coming down the road. Is there anything you want to share there? Like, have you obviously been getting some feedback that maybe has just been implemented in the app, anything like that?
Yeah, probably the neatest thing that we're working on is we are getting ready early next year to introduce a token into the system, a cryptocurrency, which we're calling Human Attention Token. And it's going to basically be the initial medium of exchange that allows you to try to book a conversation with someone. And we believe that what we've built is a really strong fit for cryptocurrency. The legacy credit card systems that we're built on currently are working great, but we're trying to create more efficiencies in the system. We're really trying to innovate, and we have some brilliant blockchain minds on our staff that we're taking advantage of to be on the cutting edge of introducing cryptocurrency and truly introducing this new concept of how we value each other's time and attention and how we respect it in a sales setting. Does that make sense?
That does. And I know that, it's still new. It's still in blockchain and cryptocurrency, but there's a lot more people that are talking about it. I don't have a full understanding about how it works, but I know it's something that it's early enough to get a great understanding about how, like Bitcoin or some of the other Ethereum and some of the other different types of models are out there. Or cryptocurrencies that are out there and how blockchain works. So I think that probably at some point we'll put some resources in there. Or if you have anything, definitely email them over. I'll put them in the show notes if folks want to kind of check out those resources about it. But it should be interesting to hear. We'll have you back on when to maybe explain that a little bit more when it rolls out. And I'd
love to.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, as far as interacting with the application itself, there's a mobile app, right?
Yeah, we're on Android. We are on the App Store for iPhone, and we also just yesterday relaunched a beautiful new desktop version of our app.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Very cool.
We're
So
really excited about it.
Yeah, that was one thing. I'll have to check that out. I have. I think I heard about it from Stu yesterday, but I'll be logging in very shortly here after we're done here, so that I can go check it out because I'm just kind of like that. So, so that gives us basically the ability to interact on the desktop, which I'm sure would help for an inside sales team. That's maybe they are in a chair behind a desk all day long, and they want to use that kind of a platform to do a search.
That's who we designed the desktop version for. Exactly what you just said. The inside sales team that's banging out cold calls or emails constantly, and they learn about this innovative new way to offer to reach out in a more respectful way, and we wanted to make it easy for them to do that. So it is actually designed around the outbound marketer, the desktop version is. I really hope you like it. I'd love your feedback. We're constantly trying to improve the fit and finish and functionality of what we're doing, but really proud of what we built with a 12-person team and out of the Midwest.
there's some incredible people all over the place. So I know you got some really great, very friendly people up there in the Midwest. So that's fantastic. I'm excited to look at the desktop version, but definitely, the mobile app is it has some really cool features. I like the safe search feature in particular, so you can take and look for a specific thing.
You really have to play around with the alert feature. That to me is the most powerful feature we have for sales guys, because there are about 500 needs posted on the platform. These are of our 20,000-ish users. These are people who said, I want to spend money and I want to spend it now. And so if you set up your alerts to say, when someone says they want to buy a new car, if that's what you sell, you'll get a free ping. You obviously have to donate if you want to make that actual connection, but you'll at least be able to see that some human has stated their intentions to you, similar to when a human Google searches and Google sells that new information to the highest bidder. You can get that information coming to you for free through the Pitch.me platform. It's very cool.
Yeah, that's exciting. I hope that more people do figure out how to use that. I hope they do adopt it. I think another thing that there's some, I'm sure there's some best practices with it. Getting your account set up and things you should do. So I went and, for the most part, built mine out. Make sure including all my social links in there, the skills that I have if somebody wants to meet with me, and then including a bio, and then setting your location. I think that's something that's kind of important too, is so that way if you want to search for folks in a certain geographic area, having the community go in and include your your location, what city or state you're in, then that'd be extremely helpful for folks, right?
It is. We obviously suggest that everyone fills out a full profile, and it's basically just allowing you to tell the world who you are from a business standpoint. And then the function of posting needs allows you to state your intentions and have that money that used to go to marketing to you go to a great charity that you care about.
Love it. Well, Brandon, thank you very much for spending some time with us today. And again, if for folks that have kind of waited to the end of the episode here to figure out if they want to do it and download this app, it's absolutely free to install. But go out to pitch.me/TMC and get that there. We'll put a link in the show notes as well. But you go to your mobile device right now, go into your browser and type in pitch.me/TMC and go in and download it, try it out, go into the application, scroll through there, look at the members that are in there now, encourage the boss to use it too. And let's kind of change how we're doing. Let's shift around that $600 billion being wasted on prospecting and put it towards some good use, right?
Couldn't agree more, man. And for any of your listeners who decide to do that, if they want to post a need that says they'd like a pitch from me, I'd be honored to put my money where my mouth is and personally walk them through how to use the app. We're still small enough to where it's very, very high touch here. We just want guys like you and guys who care about selling and growing their business in a respectful and charitable way, that we give them a great, useful tool, and we want to onboard them with a white glove approach and want to allow this thing to spread into and infect the culture with a good word.
I love it. So you heard it there, folks. The founder of Pitch.me will give you a call and donate to your charity of choice, just to go through your initial step. And I'll tell you what, it was a great conversation that we had. So I encourage everybody to go out there, try it out, and see how this works for you. And then let's kind of change things around a little bit here.
We really can change the world, brother. It's just a choice. It's a cool app. It works. It won't bother you unless you're going to do some business on it, man. And so you're right. It is just a choice to do things differently. And we have power as consumers and as business people to send billions of new dollars to charity if we choose to embrace technology like this.
I love it. And I hope people pick it up and start doing it. So anyways, thank you very much for joining me today. And we'll have you back on as time moves on and talk about some of the new features that you might be rolling out. And I'm sure I will be talking about you like we talk about LinkedIn and Twitter and all that stuff. This is a great social platform. And I encourage folks to definitely start looking at this. Let's make some changes for the positive. Let's, try to execute on some respectful commerce, respect people's time, and make effective use of this. So
Greg, it was awesome to be with you today. Thank you so much, man.
Not a problem. All right. Well, everybody, thank you very much for listening to this show. Again, check out the show notes. Go out to linkingintosales.com/podcast. You'll be able to find it out there. Or I'll probably end up tweeting it out, or you'll see it on LinkedIn or on Facebook or some other social platform that's out there. But again, my name is Greg Heyer, and you have been listening to the Social Selling Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on every one of those platforms, including YouTube, and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, TuneIn, and your favorite podcast catcher. Anyways, till next time, everyone have a great day.